Most people are prisoners, so deeply entrapped that they don't even know it. Not behind bars, but trapped by something far more powerful, their own emotions. A single insult ruins their day. A minor inconvenience sends them into a rage. A failure makes them spiral into self-doubt. They think they're in control, but they're being controlled. This isn't just weakness. This is emotional slavery. But there's a way to break free. The Stoics discovered the key to emotional mastery, how to stay calm under pressure, unshaken by insults, and immune to the chaos that controls everyone else. They didn't just suppress emotions, they learned how to rule over them. In this video, you'll learn how to escape the emotional prison that 99% of people are trapped in. No more overreacting. No more losing control. Just pure, unstoppable composure. Most people don't realize they are trapped. They believe they are making their own decisions, that they are acting out of free will. But in reality, they are following the same emotional cycle over and over again. 1. Something happens. A difficult situation. A rude comment. A stressful moment. 2. An emotional reaction takes over. Anger, fear, frustration, sadness. 3. They act impulsively. They lash out, shut down, or make a decision they later regret. 4. Stress follows. They feel guilt, anxiety, or frustration over their reaction. And then, the cycle repeats. But why does this happen? There are 3 explanations for this. 1. The brain's ancient programming. The human brain evolved to react quickly to danger. Thousands of years ago, this helped us survive in the wild. If a predator appeared, there was no time to think. You had to react instantly. Fight, flee, or freeze. But today, most of our problems aren't life-threatening. Yet, the brain still treats them that way. A rude comment feels like an attack. A stressful email feels like a crisis. Our emotions take control before we have time to think. And this is where most people get stuck. 2. The illusion of control. Most people believe they are in control of their actions. They think they are choosing their responses. But if that were true, wouldn't they always choose wisely? Wouldn't they always stay calm, make rational decisions, and avoid regret? The truth is, most people react without thinking. Their emotions make decisions for them, and because they don't realize it, they stay trapped in the same emotional patterns, day after day. 3. The high cost of emotional slavery. Being a slave to emotions has real consequences. Broken relationships, saying things in anger that can't be taken back. Bad decisions, making choices based on feelings instead of logic. Wasted time, overthinking, dwelling on problems, or holding on to resentment. Constant stress, feeling controlled by external events instead of controlling your own mind. Example: imagine someone insults you. Instead of staying calm, you lash out. You feel good in the moment, but later, you regret it. You let one person's words dictate your emotions and actions. Who was really in control? The answer is clear: not you. But Stoicism teaches another way. It shows how to break free from emotional slavery and take back control of your mind. There are 4 emotional chains that keep people trapped. These emotions shape decisions, reactions, and even life paths without most realizing it. But Stoics saw through this illusion. They understood these emotions and developed ways to break free from them. Let's examine the 4 biggest emotional chains and how Stoicism offers an escape. 1. Anger, the most destructive emotion. Anger is powerful. It makes you feel strong, justified, and in control. But in reality, anger blinds you. Most people don't control their anger, it controls them. It pushes them to say things they regret, make rash decisions, and destroy relationships. Why does anger control people? It gives the illusion of strength, but it clouds judgment. It turns minor problems into full-blown conflicts. It leaves regret once the emotions settle. The Stoics saw anger as a weakness, not a strength. How do Stoics escape anger? Pause before reacting. When you feel anger rising, stop. Ask yourself, will this matter tomorrow? Will this matter in a year? Detach from insults. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that other people's actions are their own problem, not yours. See anger as self-destruction. When you let anger control you, you give your power away. A calm mind is always stronger. Example, Marcus Aurelius faced constant betrayal as emperor, yet he never lashed out in rage. He practiced patience and rational thinking, knowing that anger only made things worse. If you can control anger, you control yourself. And if you control yourself, no one else can control you. 2. Fear, the emotion that paralyzes. Fear is what stops most people from living fully. It keeps them from taking risks, speaking their minds, or chasing their dreams. Fear whispers, what if I fail? What if I look foolish? What if I lose everything? Most people listen to that voice. Stoics don't. Why does fear control people? It makes them avoid challenges instead of facing them. It makes them settle for less than they're capable of. It creates endless stress about things that may never happen. The Stoics knew that fear grows when you avoid it. The more you run from fear, the stronger it gets. How do Stoics escape fear? They focus on what they can control. You can't control the future, but you can control your preparation, mindset, and effort. They prepare for the worst. Seneca practiced a technique called premeditatio malorum. He imagined the worst-case scenario ahead of time so that fear couldn't surprise him. They act despite fear. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward even when fear is present. Example, Seneca would mentally rehearse losing everything, his wealth, status, and freedom. By imagining it in advance, he removed its power over him. When real hardships came, he was already prepared. Fear only controls you if you let it. Face it, and it loses its grip. 3. Desire, the trap of endless wants. Modern society constantly tells us, you need more. More money, more success, more recognition. But here's the truth, desire is never satisfied. The more you chase, the more you crave. Most people believe that happiness is just one step away. Once I make more money, I'll be happy. Once I get that promotion, I'll be satisfied. Once I buy that car, I'll feel complete. But as soon as they get it, they start chasing the next thing. It never ends. Why does desire control people? It makes them believe happiness is outside of them. It creates jealousy and comparison. It leads to constant dissatisfaction, always wanting more, never feeling enough. The Stoics rejected this mindset. How do Stoics escape desire? They practice contentment. Instead of chasing more, they focus on appreciating what they already have. They ask, do I really need this? Most desires are just distractions from deeper needs, peace, purpose, and self-respect. They find happiness in simplicity. True freedom comes from needing less, not more. Example, Epictetus was born a slave. He had nothing, but he found freedom in philosophy, not possessions. He proved that happiness isn't about what you own, it's about how you think. If you can escape desire, you can escape the endless chase that controls most people. 4. Validation, the need for approval. Humans are social creatures. We want to be liked. We want others to respect and admire us. But the moment you need approval, you give away your power. Most people base their decisions on what others think, not what's right. They dress to impress. They say what's popular, not what's true. They live lives that aren't even their own, just to fit in. Why does validation control people? It makes them afraid to be different. It stops them from making the right choices. It keeps them stuck in seeking approval instead of seeking truth. The Stoics refuse to live this way. How do Stoics escape validation? They act based on principles, not opinions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." They accept that not everyone will like them, and that's okay. The goal isn't to be liked. The goal is to do what's right. They seek respect from themselves, not from others. The Stoic doesn't ask, do they approve of me? They ask, do I approve of myself? Example, Socrates refused to change his beliefs, even when it cost him his life. He knew that truth was more important than popularity. If you can escape the need for approval, you become unshakable. The Stoics knew a secret. Emotions are just signals. You don't have to act on them. You can train yourself to stay calm, clear, and in control no matter what happens. Here are 7 powerful Stoic techniques to master your emotions. 1. Create a pause between emotion and action. Most regret comes from reacting too fast. Someone insults you, and before you think, you snap back. You get frustrated, and before you pause, you make a bad decision. But if you stop for just a moment, everything changes. Why does this work? It gives your brain time to think before acting. It separates emotion from action. It prevents impulsive decisions you might regret. How to do it? The next time you feel an intense emotion, pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this reaction helping or hurting me? Then, choose your response. Example: Stoic warriors train to control their impulses in battle. If they let anger or fear take over, they would lose. Instead, they learn to pause, think, and act strategically. You can do the same. Control the pause, and you control the outcome. 2. Name the emotion to weaken it. Most people get consumed by emotions because they don't recognize what's happening. They just feel overwhelmed, frustrated, or anxious. But the Stoics and modern psychology found a simple trick: label the emotion. Why does this work? The brain processes emotions differently when they are labeled. Instead of being controlled by the feeling, you create distance from it. It turns a vague sense of overwhelm into something you can manage. How to do it? Instead of saying, "I'm stressed," say, "I feel pressure, and that's okay." Instead of saying, "I'm angry," say, "I notice frustration rising, but I don't have to act on it." Instead of saying, "I'm anxious," say, "I feel nervous because this is important to me." Example: studies show that when people name their emotions, the brain's stress response decreases. Even something as simple as saying, "I feel frustrated, but I'm in control," can calm your mind instantly. By naming the emotion, you take power away from it. 3. Use negative visualization to build emotional strength. Most people try to avoid thinking about problems. They hope everything goes smoothly. But when life doesn't go as planned, they panic. Stoics did the opposite. They expected challenges before they happened. Why does this work? It prepares your mind for difficulties, so you're never caught off guard. It makes problems feel smaller because you've already imagined them. It helps you respond calmly instead of reacting emotionally. How to do it? Every morning, take a moment to visualize your day. Imagine things going wrong: a delayed train, a tough conversation, a bad outcome. Ask yourself, if this happens, how will I respond? Example: Roman generals visualized battlefield losses before they happened. They mentally rehearsed how they would react to setbacks, so when challenges came, they were ready. You don't have to be a general to use this. If you prepare for obstacles, nothing will ever truly surprise you. Or, control your body to control your mind. Most people think emotions start in the mind, but in reality, your body fuels your emotions. Think about it. When you're anxious, your breathing becomes shallow. When you're angry, your muscles tense up. When you're nervous, your hands shake. But here's the secret: if you control your body, you can control your mind. Why does this work? Your brain watches your body for signals. If your body is tense, your brain assumes you're in danger. If you lower your voice, slow your breath, and stand tall, your brain gets the message: I am calm. I am in control. How to do it? Slow your breath. Take deep, controlled breaths to calm your nervous system. Relax your posture. Unclench your jaw, loosen your shoulders, and keep your body still. Lower your voice. Speaking slowly and evenly signals confidence. Example: in times of crisis, great leaders don't panic. They remain physically composed because they know that if their body stays calm, their mind will follow. If you master your body, you master your emotions. 5. Shift focus to what you can control. Most stress comes from focusing on things you can't control. Traffic is bad. Someone was rude. A decision is out of your hands. But worrying about these things changes nothing. It only drains your energy and makes you feel powerless. The Stoic solution: focus only on what you can control. Why does this work? It removes stress about things outside your power. It directs your energy toward action, not anxiety. It builds resilience because you stop depending on external factors for happiness. How to do it? When you feel stressed, ask, what is in my control right now? Make a list. Oh, not in my control. Other people's actions, the past, the future. Oh, in my control. my response, my effort, my mindset. Take action only on what's in your control. Example, Epictetus said, "Freedom is understanding what is within your power." The moment you stop worrying about things you can't change, you gain complete control over your own mind. 6. Use a Stoic mantra to stay grounded. When emotions take over, your thoughts spiral. Fear grows. Anger builds. You feel lost in the moment. But the Stoics had a simple trick: mantras. A mantra is a short phrase that reminds you to stay calm and focused. When repeated, it interrupts negative thoughts and shifts your brain back to reason. Why does this work? It stops emotional spirals. It trains your mind to return to logic under pressure. It helps you respond with clarity instead of reaction. How to do it? When stress hits, repeat a simple mantra to yourself. Choose a phrase that reminds you of Stoic principles. Say it in your mind or whisper it under your breath. For example, you can use statements like, "I control my mind, not the world. This too shall pass. I was made for this moment." Even Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that challenges were part of life. He wrote in his journal to ground himself in reality, repeating Stoic wisdom to stay clear-headed. When pressure rises, your mantra is your anchor. 7. Train in small emotional discomforts. Most people want to avoid discomfort. They avoid difficult conversations, challenges, and anything that feels uncomfortable. But the problem is, when real difficulties come, they aren't ready. The Stoics had a solution: train in small discomforts to prepare for bigger challenges. Why does this work? It builds emotional resilience. It teaches you that discomfort isn't dangerous. It helps you stay calm when life gets difficult. How to do it? Take cold showers. Teaches your body to stay calm under stress. Go a day without checking your phone. Trains patience and mental discipline. Speak your mind when it's uncomfortable. Builds courage and confidence. Example, the Stoics practiced voluntary hardship. They would fast, sleep on the floor, or wear simple clothes to remind themselves that they could handle discomfort. If you train with small challenges, you'll be ready for the big ones. When you master your emotions, you master your life. You are no longer controlled by anger, reacting in ways you regret. Fear no longer holds you back from taking action. The need for approval no longer shapes your choices. Instead of being pushed around by emotions, you choose how to respond. This is real freedom. Most people think freedom is about money, power, or independence. But none of those things matter if you are still a prisoner of your own emotions. If every insult makes you angry, if every setback fills you with fear, if every opinion changes how you see yourself, then you are not free. You are a puppet, and your emotions pull the strings. But when you learn to control yourself, nothing can control you. You think clearly, make better decisions, and remain calm under pressure. You stay focused, rational, and unshaken, no matter what happens around you. This is why history's greatest leaders, thinkers, and warriors all trained their minds this way. They understood that true strength is not about controlling others, it's about controlling yourself. Epictetus said it best: "No man is free who is not master of himself." Most people will never break free. They will continue reacting instead of responding. They will be controlled by anger, fear, and the opinions of others. They will let their emotions dictate their actions, never realizing that they are living as prisoners of their own minds. But you don't have to be one of them. By practicing these 7 Stoic techniques, you train yourself to stay calm, clear, and in control. You stop being a slave to emotions and start living with true inner strength. This is what Stoicism is all about: freedom, resilience, and self-mastery. And once you master this, nothing in life will ever control you again.